Hey guys, welcome to week 15. It is the Betting Pros live stream. Every Sunday we are here. Pat Fitzmaurice, Matt Perrault, we're here to break down all the breaking news, which all of a sudden is a lot because in the last hour, Jalen Hurts isn't going to play on Monday. Tyreek Hill's not playing today, and we'll see who else gets scratched. Pat, how are you? It is a minefield out there today.
It is. It's we got some weather, Matt. I know that's going to be a wild card here. So, yeah, a lot of moving parts on the final hour before kickoff on a Sunday.
So just so everybody knows right here at the top, I have another show that I do that we talk to a guy who is still left with 13 people for $9.2 million. And if you thought your day was going to be anxiety filled, he's rolling with the Titans today. Just FYI. So if you needed to stress at all, imagine having essentially with 13 take 9.2 million and divide it by 13. And you're talking about almost $1 million riding on the Tennessee Titans to go up against a team that they should beat, but they might not because it's a divisional game. And it's one of my massive rules when it comes to survivors. You don't pick divisional games, but we'll get to that game here in just 1 second. All right, we're going to roll out of the gate here with Atlanta and Carolina. There's all of a sudden money coming in on Carolina again. The total is 32. This is not Army Navy. This is not Iowa football. This is not even like the Patriots in their games. 32, Pat, here for this game. Any feelings on Falcons maybe scoring here on the road against the Panthers?
Yeah, so I can't get on either side here, Matt. Like this one's been holding steady at 3 all week. Interesting that the money is pouring in on the Panthers. I get the distrust of Arthur Smith, but I'm not feeling either side here. I do think this total has gone too low. Like we saw it at 35 or 36 earlier in the week. I mean, when you've got a total this low involving teams where there is not like a good defense or even an average defense involved, like the Falcons ranked 24th in defensive DVOA and the Panthers are 29th. These are not good teams. And I don't think we're going to get a 13-10 game with defenses this mediocre. So I do think there's value in the over at this ridiculously low a total. And although I'm not interested in either side, Matt, there's one player prop I really like here. Chuba Hubbard over 66.5 yards. I got it earlier in the week at 63.5. Like Chuba has become this workhorse for the Panthers. And if there are weather concerns today, that might even be more so the case. He had 78% of the snaps on offense last week. His last 2 games, he's had 25 carries for 104 yards and 23 carries for 87 yards. The Falcons' run defense was good earlier this year, but since putting Grady Jarrett on IR at the end of October, the Falcons have allowed 122 or more rushing yards in 4 of their last 5 games. Rachaad White of the Buccaneers trampled them for 105 yards last week. I like Chuba over.
So to give you the weather update, we're looking at rain all game. Wind gusts of about 25 mile per hour during the game, but as it goes on, the wind's going to pick up to potentially be around 35 mile per hour wind gusts. Now, that rain wind combo, it could make it really nasty. And we often talk about, okay, what, for me at least, when I'm handicapping, what's the number that I'm looking for? If you've got sustained winds of 25 mile per hour or higher, which we don't have here, it's 15. But if you have wind gusts over 30, you're talking about a lot of kicking problems. You're talking about long pass problems, which goes right into your idea of run the rock, run the rock, run the rock. Don't throw the ball deep. Hopefully you see, if you're a Panther fan or a Falcon fan, your running backs hold on to the football. But you could see a lot of Bijan Robinson and a whole lot of Chuba Hubbard coming up here today for both these football teams. So I like that prop a lot. These are 2 bad teams with a total of 32. I don't know what to do with this, except I get your point. Betting over, it is really low. We might need turnovers to get there, which we might get.
With the wind, Matt, I did not realize the wind was going to be that severe. I have to back down on that over a little bit. Maybe now, had I known that, I might not have touched it at that low.
I personally, I think you got to wait. I think you got to see what this, if you see the first couple of drives and it's a mess and it's, hovering at 31, 32, I think you can come in and bet the under in game. But this has been an area of the country where these types of like nor'easter storms, when they start to get going, that like it can be really problematic. And you got bad quarterback play, you go with bad football teams. Sometimes it leads towards the over. Sometimes it's like, it's a dead under. And then it's not like, if this was in Ohio, I would say 100%. Like it's cold, it's raining, it's windy,
Right.
it's dusting. Temperature is not going to be bad. So there may be an opportunity or two to get fumbles or interceptions and maybe score here. So I don't hate your play on the over. I just think it's going to be tight. I mean, 32 is just, it's coming down. I mean, it just moved down again. Now it's flat across the board. There are some places in foreign countries that are going to 31.5. So we're headed below 32 for this total. Man, this might be the lowest total of the year. Patriots, that closed at 31, right? The Pats game that ended up going over on Thursday night. Was it Pat Steelers? It was 31 when it closed. So we may have,
right.
This might be the lowest. This could close at the lowest total of the year. And if you want to long tease this, you want to give Carolina 8.5 points. I know a lot of people that like Carolina plus the 3, that they think, again, much like last week, they were on the Panthers. They didn't do anything. They got hammered. Now they're at home. Yeah, well, okay, let's see what happens here with the Carolina and Atlanta game. Chicago and Cleveland, another game in which the line has dropped below 3. A lot of money coming in here on Chicago. The total is 37, 2.5s across the board. DraftKings is the lone 3 out there at even money. I know you like the Bears, right, Pat?
I do like the Bears, Matt. They're one of my favorite plays this week. And the Chicago defense has just been terrific lately. They have held 3 of their last 4 opponents to 13 or fewer points. The run defense has been good all year, and the pass defense, ever since the Bears acquired Montez Sweat and got healthier in the secondary, has been pretty lights out also. The Browns defense, meanwhile, really banged up. They just lost their outstanding safety. Grant Delpit, put him on IR. I don't know if their other safety, Juan Thornhill, is going to play today. He hasn't practiced all week. Edge rusher Ogbo Okoronkwo is out, and cornerback Denzel Ward is banged up. So this is not a healthy defense. So yeah, I like the Bears here, and I also like a couple of player props here, Matt. I really like Justin Fields over 181.5 passing yards. I know weather could be an issue, but Fields has cleared this number in 6 of the 8 games he started and finished this year. And since week 4, he ranks 6th in yards per attempt and 3rd in passer rating. The Cleveland defense banged up, as I mentioned. I also like Elijah Moore over 35.5 receiving yards. He's topped this number in 5 straight games. And with Joe Flacco starting at quarterback, 2 starts for Flacco, 44 and 45 pass attempts, 18 targets for Moore in those 2 games, 7 catches, 125 receiving yards, and 334 air yards. Like Flacco is trying to hit Elijah Moore on the deeper routes. So he's heavily involved these days. I think the over is a pretty good play.
How do you feel about Deontay Foreman under 43.5 yards rushing in this game? I think if you look at the way the Bears are going to move the ball today, I don't think they're going to run all that well on Cleveland, but you made the mention of all the injuries in the secondary for Cleveland. I just feel like this is an opportunity here for not the passing attack to light up the Browns here, but don't you feel like this is a chance for this offense to move the ball through the air, even with weather concerns? Because there are some weather concerns. It's not going to be a beautiful day in Cleveland, but it's December in Cleveland, so it's kind of par for the course. How do you feel about Foreman going under 43.5 yards rushing?
I do like it, Matt. I mean, not only do you have the fact that Foreman has no big play capability, really, like, he's going to have longs of 7 or 8 yards.
Right.
And so he's going to need volume to do it. And I think it's still kind of an ambiguous backfield. Like, we did see him lead in carries and snaps last week, but like this backfield keeps shifting. So I'm not totally sure that we can lock in Foreman for, more than a dozen carries.
Right. Yeah. So I think we're going to see a game. I like your Fields prop a lot on that one as well. All right. My first play that we're going to get to is Tampa Bay here up against Green Bay. Now, full disclosure, I'm on under 6.5 wins on the year for Tampa. So this is a little bit of a hedge off of that, where I took the 3.5 points last night on the road against the Green Bay Packers. There are some books who have already gone to 4 here. In fact, everyone just went to 4. So there may be some news that just came out with Tampa Bay, because that was a universal move. Everyone's at -4. The total is 42 or 41.5 here on this one. So I would love it if this was a 3-point win for Green Bay. That would be perfect for me. But I'm concerned that this Bucs team, that I misread them in the early part of the year. They've gotten some wins. I thought they would lose last week. They did not. And so even though I'm betting it, it's more or less a hedge off of where I am with an under, future with them. But you like the Packers here today with all those injuries, because that's my concern with Green Bay, is that there's no Watson, and they have really had a tough time moving the ball without some of their skill players.
Yeah. I'm not really on either side here, Matt. Like, I could almost get on board with the Buccaneers, except the one thing that sort of concerns me, like, home field is generally regarded to be worth about 2 points in most games. I feel like a Florida team going up to Green Bay in mid-December, like, that home field advantage is worth a little more. Now, granted, it's not going to be that terrible in Green Bay today, like 40 degrees.
It's going to be nice. Like, by Green Bay standards, it's going to be nice.
Yeah, I mean, there's still some issues with that turf, though, because I'm sure they've had some frosts in Green Bay.
Right.
They've definitely had some frosts, and like the thickness, like all these teams bring cleats with different thickness of the cleat and how far they dig into the turf, and like the Green Bay equipment guys like know this like the back of their hand, and other equipment managers, like, you see guys changing their shoes mid-game. So, like, we'll see if that factors in. I can't bet the Bucs in this one, but I'm not really enthusiastic to bet the Packers either.
My other prop in this game is I think Rachaad White's going to have a big game running the football. I think that they're going to have to pound the rock. I think they'll not want Baker to be back there throwing the ball a ton if they can avoid it. And look, this Packer defensive line, this Packer defense in general, there's injuries all over the place. Everyone's got injuries, but the Packers really have injuries on their defense and on their offense. So it's why I think the Bucs could win the game. There's clearly, opinions on the other side. Let's move this number to 4 here before kickoff. So now we're looking at, the pros at least are coming in here and believing that Green Bay is going to protect their home field and win the game by, a touchdown here against Tampa. The weather is not an issue, though, which is, the total is 42, which is by today's standards high, which is a little shocking, to be quite honest. But I think people would probably look to play the under in that game. But hopefully we see Green Bay win by 3, and I could be good on both plays. Houston on the road against Tennessee, another team that was favored and is now not. It opened at 3.5. It's flipped to 3 when as high as 3.5. Circa in Vegas is still at 3.5 here. They've crossed it. 38 is the total in this game. Tennessee, the only thing I can think of in this game, again, props to my guy Spooky, who was in the contest for $9.2 million, riding with the Titans. Buddy, I don't know how you could deal with this, because I'd be like driving somewhere with no cell reception just to get away from it, because I can't believe I got a back on the Titans. But what do you make of this game? Tennessee now the favorite, no CJ Stroud.
Yeah, you can miss me with this game entirely, Matt. God bless Spooky. I'll be rooting for him, but can you imagine having $9 million riding on Will Levis? And granted, I do not like betting against Mike Vrabel's teams at home.
Right.
So I understand his rationale for taking the Titans here, but I have too much respect for DeMeco Ryans and what he's done, even without CJ Stroud. Like, Case Keenum's not a terrible backup quarterback,
right,
in the NFL. I mean, we've seen him take teams took the Vikings pretty deep into the playoffs a few years ago. So, obviously the loss of Stroud damages Houston's chances in this game, but I'm just going to stay away from this one. By the way, Matt, in the chat, there was someone named Christian who brought up the over on Derrick Henry's fantasy points, which is 13. I personally think it's under. Like, if Henry gets into the end zone, different story. And I know we are used to seeing Derrick Henry completely wreck the Texans. Totally different outfit with DeMeco Ryans. Now, the Texans are giving up 3.3 yards per carry to running backs this year. So, I'm not as excited about that. Plus, we're seeing a lot of Tyjae Spears. So I'm not crazy about that. I think the under is the slightly better percentage play.
I'm going on his over for rushing props over 70.5.
I am.
I'm not buying this. I get the point. I'm just not really. I think they're going to have to run the ball today. And I think Henry pops one. He always tends to have one or two big runs against the Texans, even with D'Amico Ryans. I think they need him. If my guy Spooky is going to get this W, Henry has to be the focal point of this offense. It has to play big. So I am going to ride with Derrick Henry over 70.5. Did he get in the end zone? I don't know if he gets in the end zone. I mean, that would be, I don't know how much scoring we're going to see in this game, to be quite honest. It's, there's no weather concerns in this game, but it's going to be one of those games for me. It's like you just kind of keep track of the score. Like, it's not going to be on. I'm not really all that committed to it. It's just hopefully we see a couple of runs here from Derrick Henry and we get over 70.5 rushing yards. But this is a bad football game. And it's to have to ride with the Titans. This is where we are with survivor pools. You're kind of stuck with, you have to use the bad teams, unfortunately. And this one is definitely one of them. All right, here is the game everyone's arguing with me about. Saints, Giants. Number has come back up to 6, which I'm kind of surprised at. Total's 39.5. Look, I love the Tommy Cutlet story. I'm half Italian. I'm from Boston. The kid's from Boston. His agent's from Boston. Like, I get the whole thing about this incredibly fun story. Yes, they've won a bunch of games in a row. And yes, the Giants are still, quote, in the hunt for the postseason. But the Saints, all the pros loved the Saints, and then they burned them over and over and over again. And then they stopped loving the Saints, and now they're fading the Saints. I like the Saints today. I don't know if I'd lay the 6 points. I think I'd rather tease it down, but I like New Orleans here up against the Giants at 39.5 from a total perspective. You on the Giants? Seems like everyone's on the Giants.
Oh, it's such a gross game. I'm not touching this one, Matt. And like the Saints have burned me. Like, I cannot get on the right side of the Saints all year. It's been impossible. So I'm not taking sides in Saints games anymore. It feels right. If in the pools I'm in where I have to pick a game on this, I think I've taken the Saints in this one. So, but man, the bet that interests me here, Matt, this one was at 36.5 earlier in the week. Yeah. And now it's up to 39.5. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why. Darren Waller is back, but is Darren Waller worth 3 points to the total? Is this newfound respect for Tommy DeVito after what he did to the Packers? This Giants offensive line is still really bad. The Saints still have all sorts of red zone problems. I just don't see this one getting to 40 points. I think the under is a pretty good percentage play here.
If the two plays that because Cleveland's at home and I believe in Joe Flacco, I'm not betting it, but this is a plus 140 parlay. You can go Saints money line and Browns money line, and it's a plus 142 money line parlay if you want to get involved with that. But if that's one angle where weather could come in and help the home team. I don't love Justin Fields in the weather, but if you want to use the Saints as a money line parlay leg, I like it. I think you're going to see. I like the Saints to win today up against a bad Giants team on the road. I'm just not buying this Tommy Cutlets thing. So the major move today was the Tyreek Hill news. The Jets were at open catching 13.5. Now it's down to 7, and every 7.5 is gone. 35.5 is the total for the Miami Dolphins at home against Zach Wilson. Can the Jets pull this off? Because it sure feels like everyone's on the Jets here, not just a win or not just a cover. Some think they're going to win the game.
Yeah, I think they're capable of uglying this one up, Matt. I think they can cover. But the Miami defense is really good too. And I still think Tua is a far superior quarterback to Zach Wilson. So, I know the Tyreek thing is a big blow to Miami, but, man, if you're forcing me to take a side, I'm taking the points here. I'm not ready to bet Jets money line though, Matt. And can you believe we're getting a Miami Dolphins home game with the total this low? It's just wild.
Watch the wind. All right. There's no weather from a rain perspective, but the wind is a concern on the back end of this storm. Miami's going to see wind gusts. Now, there's been reports of anywhere from 15 miles per hour, which is nothing, to 35, which is a lot. So you're talking about a pass heavy offense without its best weapon. Now trying to throw the ball on one of the better secondaries, if not the best secondary in the AFC. That's kind of why. Now, the question is going to be on the other side. Does Zach Wilson have the ability to move the ball on the Dolphins? And if he can't, that's why the total is what it is. It's basically saying that the Dolphins aren't going to score much, and maybe they score 20. And then how many points will the Jets score? 10, 13? So there's your number. 20 to 13 is what the books are telling you is that what the number is going to wind up falling. And that's why you're dealing with a total under 35, which is just super, super low here for a Miami Dolphin team that, early in the year scored 70 points against the Denver Broncos. So yeah, real low. The final game at 1:00 Eastern time, the KC Chiefs are on the road against the Patriots. There's been a late move here on Kansas City. We are all the way back up to 9.5 here and 10 even at DraftKings, 39.5 here. Talk me off the Patriots. Talk me off taking 10 points for the Chiefs on the road?
Yeah, I mean, with the way the Chiefs offense has struggled, and I think this is as much as we have seen the Chiefs offense struggle since Patrick Mahomes came into the league. So, and the one thing that the Patriots, for as bad as their season has been, that has been much more about their offensive struggles than their defense. And at the same time, like, this Chiefs defense is really good. So yeah, I could very much see a low scoring, ugly 1-score game. I cannot talk you out of the Patriots, Matt. I haven't played this one myself, but and by the way, this is part 2 of can you believe how low the total is for the Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, we've got Miami Dolphins and Kansas City Chiefs games with totals under 40. It's just hard to fathom.
39, and it's gone up. Open 37.5. It's gone up to 39.5.
Yeah.
It's amazing. We've seen plays on the over for this, but this is fascinating because I'm a Patriot fan, obviously. So what's going to be like, I wanted to use this in a long teaser. It's gone because it's 10 now, so you can't even long tease this. But it's one of those things where the news comes out that Belichick is out this week. Tommy Curran up there in New England is as tapped in as anybody, but he oftentimes gets information directly from the Kraft family. So it says after the loss to Germany, it was decided Bill's out. Then Brandon Staley gets fired and Tom Telesco gets fired from the Chargers because they come here to Vegas and give up 63 points to a team that got blanked the week prior. Bill to LA has been the rumor that everyone has heard. We've all heard it here on the West Coast. No one's really flat out reported it, but it feels like Belichick is going to the Chargers. I don't know. There may be one of those, like, let's go win one for Bill moments here with the Chiefs coming in, because Belichick has owned Mahomes at times and he has beaten up on Andy Reid in really key moments. There's just something to this game where I'm like, man, this could be a rollback the clock, or they get killed, or the Chiefs win by 40.
Right.
And they get killed.
Right. Because it does feel like we are due for the, Patrick Mahomes reminds us why he's Patrick Mahomes game. So that's the scariest thing about betting the Patriots, that you get one of those Mahomes Hall of Fame performances.
Yeah, I wish there was weather. There's no weather, unfortunately. But Bailey Zappi threw the ball so well, but the Patriots have always destroyed the Steelers. It's just been what they've done. That defense that they've run for years and years and years. The Patriots have always done well. Belichick always has a scheme to take apart Mike Tomlin. He's owned Mike Tomlin for years. He has owned Andy Reid too, though. So this is one, defensively, take away Travis Kelce, and then what do you have? And that's what this is going to be. What else? We know what Bill's going to do. He's going to take away Kelce. So then who else are you going to have to beat the Patriots? And no Pacheco, so they're not going to run the ball very well today. Clyde Edwards-Helaire.
And the Patriots run D is legit too. So if the Chiefs are going to move the ball, they're going to have to do it through the air.
I can't. I have not been excited to watch many Patriot games. I'm actually really psyched to watch this game just to see if they can keep the game close. And then maybe shock the world, because if this game happens, the Broncos lost yesterday, which kind of stinks. So the Chiefs need to lose to keep that race alive. If the Chiefs win, they're going to win the division. They were going to win it anyway, but it would be awesome to see the Broncos still be alive here going into Week 16 to win the AFC West, which they need the Chiefs to lose this game after their performance yesterday against the Lions, but I bet against them, so I wasn't that surprised. San Francisco, I came really close, Pat, to lay in the 11.5 here against Arizona Cardinals. Total's 48.5, coming down at most places. I mean, the Niners are going to kill the Cardinals, are they not? Cardinals, I believe, haven't covered in 12 of the last 13 games against the NFC West.
I laid the 11.5.
Yeah,
Matt.
I'm with you.
It's one of my best bets. I mean, I just don't think the Cardinals can keep this close. The 49ers are playing too well, and I have a hard time seeing them go to sleep for this one. They beat the Cardinals by 21 points in October.
Yeah.
I know Kyler Murray wasn't there, but it's not like Kyler Murray has played great football since coming back. He's made the offense more viable, but like he has not sparked some great renaissance for the Arizona offense. So yeah, I don't think he single-handedly keeps Arizona in this game. So I'm going to lay the points pretty confidently.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't know about the total because I'm not sure how many points Arizona's going to score against that defense for San Francisco, but this is one of my, the bets that I tend to make quite consistently, saying, you know what? Everyone, Rams against the Cardinals, 49ers against the Cardinals. It's just it's whatever the number is, you just fire on it. They kill them and they work them. And I don't think Murray's gonna have much of a chance here, run for his life type of game situation. So I like it. I think you can lay limit. Yeah.
By the way, Mike in our chat, he says he's a Niners fan and he bet Arizona. And he did point out that the 49ers defense is banged up. I know they do have some injuries. I don't know if Dre Greenlaw is going to play. I think he might be out, but still, it's
more the offense for the Niners against the Cardinals defense for me. And the fact that you do have, I think they really do want to give Brock Purdy the MVP. So in order to keep him in the MVP conversation, we know that Hurts is going to play on Monday. So he's out. If Dak goes and has a huge game today on the road against Buffalo, that's going to go a long way for Prescott. If the Cowboys win today, that's going to be significant to me. So I think this is a pretty big double-digit, easy type of win here. And they won 38-10 last year. I think the score was in Arizona. So I'm kind of thinking a very similar type of score here. Niners in the 30s. If you're worried about the back door, bet Niners team total. That was one way I was looking at that as well. Going,
good point.
Just forget about what Arizona does and bet team total for the Niners over. I have teased this. This is my teaser. I've taken the Rams at home against Washington down to a half a point. The total is 49. Washington the last 2 weeks, Pat, has just been absolutely atrocious. They've been annihilated. I think the Rams win the game. I'm not sure they cover the 6.5, but the first leg is minus a half a point. Rams win today?
I think so. I think turnovers are the only thing that could be your undoing there, Matt. Like the Washington defense is so bad, but there have been times where Matthew Stafford has that game where he throws 2 or 3 interceptions and that's what crosses you up. Like that I think is the only thing that trips you up. And I wish I had more to say about this game, like the line and the total. I think it's all kind of spot on. The only thing I really like here is the Puka Nacua player prop over 68.5 receiving yards. I think it might have been at 69.5. It's actually dropped a point on DraftKings. The Commanders are just getting blowtorched by wide receivers every week. They have given up 198.5 receiving yards per game to wide receivers this year, most in the league, and they're allowing 10.1 yards per target to opposing wide receivers. So I think Puka is going to have a big game and just smash this number.
I hope you're right, because my other play in this game is Stafford over 271.5 yard passing, because I'm right there with you. I think that we see this defense give up a ton of passing yards to Matthew Stafford. So you can shop around. Some books are already at 273.5. I got 271.5. You open at 268.5. So you see how high it goes. But like Pat has just said, this defense can't guard anybody, and you have 2 of the best wideouts in the game with a quarterback who can put a football on a wideout. So I expect a big game in the passing attack here for the Rams, for Matthew Stafford and the Rams, and for like Puka as well to go over. You can look at Cooper Kupp, anytime touchdown as well. Those types of props I do like a lot. All right, 2 games to go, and this is the game of the day. Bills are up to 2 at home against Dallas. Total is down to 49. Well, it's opened at 49. It was up to 50.5 at one point. Now it's down to 49. So the money coming in here on the under for Dallas at Buffalo. I'm on 1.5. I took the Bills. I laid it. Buffalo has to win this game. It's a playoff game. Dallas wants to win, but they don't need to win the same way, and they are just a different team on the road. Who do you like, Buffalo or the Cowboys?
Yeah, I'm not betting it, but in the pools where I have to take someone, I took Buffalo, Matt. I kind of see it your way. And I think this, it would normally be another instance where I think maybe home field is worth more than 2 points with a Southern team going up to Buffalo in mid-December. Unfortunately, we're going to get like mid-October weather in Buffalo. It's going to be like 50 degrees and maybe a little rainy.
Yep.
So weather's probably not going to be much of a factor. I do lean slightly toward the Bills, and I lean heavily towards the under here, Matt. Like, two really good defenses. I mean, this total just seems too tall. I don't know if they're going to go just up and down the field on each other. I think the defenses are too good for that.
Yeah, I'm going to be very curious to watch this and see. Josh Allen's interception prop, by the way, is minus 170. Extremely expensive to bet, but I like it. I think he does throw a pick, but I think Dak does too. Dak is only minus 130. So I looked at that and I was like, all right, well, if I like Buffalo, probably like Dak to throw a pick, but I'm little concerned that Dak has played so well and I've underestimated his abilities this season so far that maybe Dak has a great game and he goes up there and dices Buffalo. I mean, obviously Micah Hyde being out is a pretty big injury for that secondary for the Bills. So I'm concerned a little bit there. I'm really excited. I'm really interested to see how this Buffalo Bills team comes out in the early part of this game because they're going to be jacked up. Can they avoid making the emotional mistake? Because the Bills, one, we know they turn the ball over, but the Cowboys are so darn opportunistic when it comes to their secondary. And pick sixes are like their calling card. So that's my worry is if the Cowboys get a pick six, I'm dead. Like that is the one thing I got to avoid. Dallas gets a pick six. If their defense scores, Buffalo's not going to win this game. So I like the Bills because of there's more riding. This is a playoff game, playoff type atmosphere, but unfortunately we're not getting the weather that we would like with cold and snow and wind and typical Buffalo December. The Cowboys are not going to see that today, although they could see some rain. I mean, there is rain in the forecast for this one. It could rain heavy, but most likely it's not going to. There's lake effect rain that they're talking about so in the area. The other leg to my teaser is Jacksonville and Baltimore. I've taken this up to 9.5. So it's Rams down, Jags up here. The total is sitting at 40.5, 3.5 the line for the Ravens. I love the Ravens. I have a ticket on them to win the Super Bowl. I've been on them since August, but I don't know if they win this game by more than a field goal. Jacksonville has to win this game, do they not?
They do need this game, Matt. So yeah, I don't know if they blow out the Jaguars on the road, but I do have the Ravens minus 3.5 as one of my best bets for this week, just because I don't think it's so rare for the Ravens to play two poor games in a row under John Harbaugh. Like it just hasn't happened that often. And I'd say they played pretty poorly to barely escape with a win in overtime against the Rams last week. So I think they'll get their act together and play a better game this week against the Jaguars. And the Jaguars have just kind of been all over the place. Like for a while, they looked like one of the true, I don't know if they can quite be called favorites, but like they were one of the better teams in the AFC for a while. And I just haven't gotten that same vibe off the Jaguars recently. The offense has kind of been all over the place. So, I think the Ravens win. I'm guessing maybe it settles somewhere between, a 4-point win and a 10-point win, but fingers crossed for you on this one, Matt.
Yeah. So you can have your 7-point win. You can have that and it falls right in the middle. And DJ Culprit, I appreciate. I don't know what's going on with the dog in the background. I apologize for that. My daughter is supposed to be taking care of it and she clearly has not. So when someone knocks on the door, it happened at like 9:15 and normally he shuts up, but he hasn't. So I do apologize for the dog in the background. I was going to get up and I was like, I can't get up because it's just more difficult. I'm hosting this thing. So apologies for the animal in the background that hopefully will never be placed where he was placed today. But yes, he is relentless. He just won't stop. He's a little tiny Chihuahua thing that won't stop barking. My daughter's dogs are really annoying. Yeah, I mean, look at Jags. I said in August, the Jaguars, Ravens, that was my AFC championship game. And I think I'm right with the Ravens. The Jaguars, this Christian Kirk injury is just really significant. I mean, it's just bad. And their offense has not looked the same since Kirk's been out. You got a rib injury for Travis Etienne that concerns me because that can go anytime. I just don't trust this team. So I think they can hang, but I think they can lose by 7. like just because they have to throw everything at Baltimore. And at times, the Ravens have kind of played with their food. They haven't been as dominant as I would have liked them to be, and they get backdoored a lot. Like it's just like they're up, and all of a sudden turn around, you're like, wait a minute, how are you losing? Like the Steeler game comes to mind. Like, wait, what just happened? Because you guys were up so big and then your defense got tired or whatever it might be. And the Mark Andrews injury is still really significant to me. This offense still has not looked as good. Zay Flowers has been phenomenal, but it's there. So, Mr. Sparkle, yes, Derrick Henry. I like the over on 70.5 rushing yards. Pat's not all that into it. He thinks there may be some problems there with the Houston defense being different with D'Amico Ryans as the head coach. They handle running backs better. So yeah, we did go over that. Before we go here, Pat, any thoughts on Monday night here with Jalen Hurts being out? It's rather significant here. We got two backup quarterbacks potentially playing on Monday night again.
Yeah, what is the line shifted to? I did not get the Jalen Hurts news the last check.
Let me see. It's off the board. Ugh, yeah, they pulled it. They pulled it down until they find out what's going on. So there's not even a line on it right now. Well, at least what I'm looking at. There's no line for Monday.
Yeah, that's tough. Man, you got to like Seattle at home though to win outright. I would think.
But Geno may not play.
Right, Geno is also iffy.
So Geno's iffy. So you could have another backup quarterback situation in a game that if the Dallas Cowboys lose today, the Eagles know that they don't have to win it. You know what I mean? Like they're just kind of like, like if we lose, we lose, because we know that as long as we have the same record as the Cowboys at the end, we're good. So I think the Eagles are hoping the Cowboys lose today, and then they can definitely play Marcus Mariota and see if David Carr knows anything or not.
Yeah, that is a messy game. That's not one I'm eager to bet right now, Matt.
No,
to be honest.
No, that is. We've had a lot of these on Mondays, Thursdays, and Sundays. We've had a lot of these games where they've just been gross, and they've been backup quarterback fests. And we had the Raiders scoring 63 points, but that game was supposed to be a dud, and it turned into a fireworks show because, 5 turnovers can do that when you're the Chargers on that. So, okay, just to recap the plays here, in case you guys are jumping in here late. I am on the Bucks minus 1.5. Sorry, Bucks plus 3.5. The Bills minus 1.5. My teaser is Rams minus 0.5. Jags plus 9.5. Henry over 70.5 rushing. Stafford over 271.5 passing. Rashad White over 69 rushing. And Deontay Foreman 43.5 yards rushing. What are yours, Pat, again?
Yeah, so mine are Bears plus 3. Ravens minus 3.5. And 49ers minus 11.5. And then for player props, I like Justin Fields over. It dipped to 181.5. I took it over 182.5 earlier in the week. I believe Chuba Hubbard over 68. It was 63.5 earlier in the week. It's up a little. I think 66.5. I'm still slamming the over there. And Puka Nacua, whatever it is right now, it's 69.5. Take the over there. He's going to destroy the Commanders.
All right, let me tell you what the Wong teaser will be here, guys, because it's ugly. How do you feel, Pat, about Carolina catching 8.5? And I know you're going to like the Bears catching 8.5 as well, but how do you feel about Carolina? Can they keep this game close? Because I know you like the Bears, so the Bears 8.5 I know you're a fan of. What about Carolina?
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to see Atlanta blowing over anyone's doors off, Matt. Like
on the road.
Yeah,
in the weather, in the road.
I kind of like it. I like it.
Do you like it more than the Texans? Plus 9.
I do like it more than the Texans.
I do too. I can't do backup quarterback against the Titans.
Let's not give Spooky a heart attack here. Let's not be jumping on the Texans. But you mean the Titans? Did you mean like taking the Titans and moving them down? You
take Houston up to 9. You go Houston plus 9 is the play you can make.
Yeah, I think I'd rather take the big points with
at
the
home.
Panthers. Yeah.
Agreed. The only other thing is it's 7.5 for Miami at 2 books. You could pull it down to 1.5 for Miami. I don't think I can do it.
No, I don't want to mess with that game.
I think the Jets might win the game.
They could.
I mean, the Miami offense is so bad without Tyreek Hill, and this is where I think it's pretty easy. If you're the Jets, you just take away Waddle. You go, okay, we're going to go ahead and put sauce on on Waddle. Who's going to beat us? I mean, I know they can run the ball, but it's really hard to run on the Jets. So I don't know how many points the Dolphins will score today. That's the fear.
Yeah. I do not want to touch that game as part of the Wong.
All right. Carolina plus 8.5, Chicago plus 8.5. There's your Wong teaser for the day here for us, for the Daily Juice listeners. You guys, I'll put all that in the Discord channel coming up. Okay, guys, have you downloaded the Betting Pros app? It is free to do so. Go and do it right now. App Store, Google Play Store. It lets you sync all your bets. You can track all your plays. You can view your performance across all sports, different bet types, different books as well. You can even trail hot players, hot users as to when they get hot. You can ride their hot streak along with them. You can see how your instincts are stacking up against others. And the prop bet cheat sheet is really good. It's great for the NBA. If you're getting ready to transition from football into basketball, the cheat sheet is great. It just gives you a lot of different metrics to kind of go, all right, I think this player is going to go under or over. You can match it up with what the computers are saying. It's really, really convenient, and it's all free. Betting Pros app, download it today. Go there and grab it. Pat, thank you for the time. I appreciate you. We will see you. By the way, guys, for the playoffs, when there are Saturday games for the postseason, we'll be here doing this Saturday and Sunday. So you'll get playoff editions of the Betting Pros NFL live stream during the postseason when we get to Saturday games in a month or so. Pat, good stuff. Appreciate it. Troy, thank you so much for doing this. We're back next week for week 16 for the Betting Pros NFL live stream.